Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Storytelling has the transformative power to shape lives, inspiring people. It brings healing, it brings connectivity across cultures and experiences. Through narratives, we find meaning, we find empathy and understanding, and we also use that opportunity to influence, people, relationships, and worldview, right? That's the power of storytelling. Tonight is going to be an interesting conversation. It's the last episode for the evening. I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I remain your host, Osayua Mesali. And tonight we are, of course, touching on the power of storytelling, right, in shaping lives. And, of course, we want to hopefully sit with our guests. I would say one of the very strong storytellers in Nigeria, Chude Jideonwo. He will be here to join us on the conversation much later. But first, let me say that, please go on our YouTube channel in case. Go and see what we did today. We had the very first edition of our campus tour. It was such an impactful time with young minds, and we were actually, telling different kinds of stories. And it was such an impactful time, and, I'm super thrilled to have launched that officially today. So please go and watch, hear what young people are saying, and see how they can actually, become change agents, for the tomorrow and the better Nigeria that we all seek. So remember, Ways is all about you. You are the wine way. So be a part of our conversation. Like, share, invite your families and friends. Subscribe to our YouTube channels at Official Upgrade TV, and, just be part of this community that we're building for young and vibrant minds that would take on better futures for both us and generations to come. And when you open our phone lines, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think the power of storytelling is. But remember, yes, let me allow you ponder on my quote for the day. It says, let me find that quote. Give me a minute. So it says, inside, right, each of us is a natural-born storyteller waiting to be released. That is the story, the quote for the day. We all have unique stories, and in those stories are, things that would truly evoke some of the changes that we seek, some of the things that we dream of, and all of that. So every human has a story. It's just waiting, to be told. So yeah, don't trivialize your story. So we'll take a break. When we come back from that break, I will, of course, let you in on my news interest for the day. Stay with me.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, or does it test our strength? Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. Now, I'll start with the news interest. Of course, you know now, education is always something that is very dear to me. So, Lagos State is saying that over 26,000 students failed 2024 WASE. The Lagos State government has disclosed that 26,592 public school students failed the 2024 West African Senior School Certificate Examination, raising an alarm across the state's education sector. The Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Jamiu Ali Balogun, stated this during a ministerial press briefing in Alausa, Ikeja. He said that 45.7% of the 58,188 students from public schools who sat for the exam did not pass. That's crazy. That's crazy. So he said this failure rate comes despite the state's government's significant financial backing of 1.577 billion naira paid on behalf of the students to cover WAEC fee. He says, he now says, suffice to say that the sum of 794 billion was paid by the state government as examination fee for 58,188 students who were captured for the year 2024 WASE. In a bid to tighten accountability and avoid wastage, the Commissioner disclosed that biometrics and image registration was carried out to accurately determine eligible students for the government scholarship for 2025. The exercise successfully captured about 56,137 students registered as bona fide beneficiary of the Lagos State government scholarship for the examination for this 2025. So I want to say something about education, and I think that it is something that most state governments always miss out. It's not about throwing money that guarantees that the child would pass. So before a child gets to the age of writing WAEC, right, or WASE, or whatever it is you want to call it, that child must have gone through 6 years of education, right? If the educational system is faulty, or the education that we are familiar with is read, cram, offload, and that's it. It will be difficult for the person to pass the exams because, again, you remember that the exam at that point, you are actually is an aggregate of what you've learned over the years. Quality education and not making education about, what's the word now I'm looking for? Not making education about just passing an exam, you know, can actually change a lot of things when it comes to recording success, you know. Some of us, I've done very exceptionally well raising children, and I know that, you know, in my home, I don't make everything about examination. It is about what have you learned? What are you able to, you know, from your sleep, I wake you up, what are you able to tell me about mathematics? What are you able to tell me about physics, you know? So imagine if we start to learn differently, and it's not just about targeting an examination. Maybe our educational system might just improve. All right, so I would move on to my next story. I'll move on to my next story, and this is on it says it's begin drug test with politicians. Nance tell NDLEA. You know how NDLEA has said that they were going to start, what did they call them? Drug tests for youth corps members, right? So they have come to answer him. The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, on Thursday, called the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency to extend its proposed mandatory drug testing initiative to political office holders and aspirants. The chairman, NDLEA, Buba Marwa, retired, had repeatedly proposed drug integrity tests for corps members, prospective couple, and other groups as part of the efforts to curb substance abuse. Mara stated this, of course, when he did a courtesy visit, right? And he says the tests were not punitive measure. I mentioned it yesterday, but they were preventive measure, that because there's a high drug, abuse happening amongst young people. So NANS have come to answer him that it's through the Vice President of the Intercampus and Gender Affairs, Akim Boduse, I think. Felicia, she commended NDLEA's initiative but warned against any form of selectivity. That according to her, she said the same drug integrity test should also apply to individuals seeking elective positions and those currently serving in public offices at both federal and state levels. The proposed drug test is a commendable step, but it must not target only young Nigerians. She said, if we are to build a drug-free society, then spotlight must also shine on those in power, those who make and enforce the law. I'm serious, and I love her because Felicia, go girl. That's the way to go, because honestly speaking, if you really want to check it, right, the kind of drugs that they're talking about, it is actually very expensive, right? So it's not only just young people. There are people, first of all, funding it. There are also people, they are funding it. There are also people, what's the word now, peddling it. There are also people, you know, like literally ensuring that that drug stays in the system, you know. So I like what Felicia has said, and honestly, if you really want to be fair, everybody should be tested for drugs, because at this rate, I don't know who is supplying it, who is peddling it, I don't know. So everybody should be tested, and I feel those in positions of authority, in fact, the NDLEA people go, let us also test them. But I think that is a welcome suggestion and welcome argument. So it should be also considered. I hope NDLEA boss, you're listening, and I hope you consider it as well, because it's very important. All right, so I'll move on to my next story. I'll move on to my next story. Where it says tribunal, the tribunal upholds FCCPC's 220 million fine against Meta and WhatsApp. So this is the Consumer and Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal has upheld the 220 million fine that was given to Meta. So, yeah, there's been a lot of back and forth about this particular case. But, yes, we are going to be watching that story. But let me just quickly pick something that caught my attention. It says the tribunal specifically determined that the commission complied with prevailing laws, discharged its mandate, and exercised its power within the confines of the 1999 Constitution as amended, that it ruled that multiple actions by WhatsApp and Meta for which Commission made findings of violation were correctly identified, and that the Commission did not err in making those, those decisions, right? I don't know, this argument it's been on for a while, but yeah, the Sha will pay. They will have to pay the money. All right, so let's take a break, right? When we come back from that break, hopefully my guest is here and we'll be able to have the conversation. Stay with me.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
So since we're in the spirit of storytelling, I'll just tell some small story because my guest is trying to find his way. He's almost here. When he comes, I'll take a break and then bring him in. You know how we complain about Nigeria and how it seems like nothing is working in this country? Yeah, that has always been the situation and the conversation that you hear in different quarters. So for the past, would I say 5 years now, I've been nursing the idea of how we can intentionally engage young people and start to, reshape thinking, probe action, and just, in fact, get them to start to look into different concerns, especially when it comes to national concerns critically, and then ultimately change certain narratives that we tell about ourselves as Nigerians. And, that was the main reason we actually launched Ways. And over the years, I've seen so much, impact that it has done, not just in the lives of you, the viewer, but also in our lives. As it makes me wake up every day thinking, what responsible thing do I need to do today that would impact, that would bring impact to Nigeria, which is the big picture. Ultimately, we're hoping for better development, better growth, and everything. And so that has been what wakes me up every day. So, and this is because, again, stories we were told when we were young, we are the leaders of tomorrow and all of that, and it didn't seem very far-fetched. So when is this tomorrow ever going to come? Because I have, in fact, I have adults now. I have 18-year-olds, I have, 16-year-olds, and I'm telling them the same thing I was told as a baby, that, you're the future leader, you're the leader of tomorrow and all of that. So it then begs the question, right, what exactly are the challenges that we're faced with, and when will this tomorrow ever come, and how do we start to intentionally change the narrative, because it seems like we're telling the same old tale when it comes to issues around Nigeria. And and that was how we birthed Ways and all of that. So 2 years ago, we then decided, you know what, I think Ways were too old for the conversation. Let's also intentionally build young minds that would come together and then table conversations around national discourse and all of that. Let's not just have older people. And that was how we also curated specially an all Gen Z team that we called Ways Breakfast. So it's still What Are You Saying, but the breakfast team. And they go live at 8 a.m. every morning. And today we were just overwhelmed and privileged, to have our very first campus engagement. We went to Pan-Atlantic University. Thank you to everyone that made it a success for us. And, it was really humbling seeing all those children, the wealth of knowledge that came out from those children on how they think Nigeria can be better, how they think we can intentionally take action towards, building a better Nigeria for our children and our future. And this was just simply breathtaking. We're hoping that, we're able to have more of those engagements across different campuses, across Nigeria. Maybe with your support, your partnership, we want to do more. Now, the goal is not political. The goal is not anything. The goal is better lives for every single citizen in Nigeria. Is to intentionally build something bigger, something better. So, that was today, earlier this afternoon, and we had an amazing time. So I want to say thank you to my entire team, both the anchors and also those behind the cameras that you do not see. They did an amazing job. And we'll continue to push that vision. We'll continue to shape lives. And it was important to then kind of like from the high of earlier today, we want to now talk to people that are intentional about storytelling. We hear from them and now understand how all those stories have shaped who they are and how, those stories will continue to transform, the people around them. And of course, just continue to build or redefine, who we are as Nigerians, and maybe ultimately as Africans. So we'll take a break, right? As I said, the story. I will bring in my guest. When we come back from that break, Chude Jideonwo, he'll be joining me, and let us just quickly tell some short story before our time runs out for the evening. Stay with me.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, lives a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on Ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, What Are You Saying? Has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlights. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Hi, thanks for staying tuned. Now, Chude Jideonwo is a Nigerian media personality. They say he's a filmmaker. He's also a podcaster. He transformed podcasts in Nigeria. He's known for his creative work and activism, particularly in promoting inclusivity and representation. His storytelling is just breathtaking, often exploring themes around identity, love, acceptance that resonates with a diverse audience. His work has sparked important conversations and raised awareness about social issues in Nigeria and beyond. And yes, he's joined me finally live in studio.
Good to see you.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time that I've seen you physically.
Our fellow 40 years. It's just that you senior me with a lot of months. But it's okay.
It's good to see
you.
Such a lovely studio.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because we don't have time.
Yes.
How is it like turning 40?
Well,
because it's like you are pressuring all of us.
That's very good thing. That's very good. We need to make 40 sexy. But I'm loving it. I've always wanted to be older. And my 20s took too long.
Wow.
I spent too long being 20. You know how it is now, because I did a lot of things in my 20s. So my identity was this, youngest that, youngest this, youngest that. At some point...
30 under 30.
All those kind of things, yes. At some point, I'm like, okay, you do. Let's be... So, you know, people in Nigeria are always trying to claim young. You know, you have 43-year-old youth leaders. Immediately I turned 30. I said, if you call me youth...
You're still a youth.
You know, so I want to. I'm enjoying it. I don't know. There was an interview that Maya Angelou did many years ago, and she was telling Oprah, I said, what does it feel to be 70 or whatever? She says, oh, I thought my 40s were good, but my 50s were even better. And that's how I feel. My 20s were good, my 30s were better. I'm balling in my 40s already.
Today. You know, say that God might catch you
okay,
when you come.
Let me use my leg.
Now you use your 2
legs.
legs.
Come here.
Now you waka come. You know, you have been an amazing storyteller.
Thank you.
You know, and first of all, what inspired that? Because somehow you just changed the game when it comes to storytelling. You were able to bring humanity, you know, to a lot of us, to the screens, to make people start to just intentionally see human beings, you know, as opposed to all the tags that we see, you know. you know, this big celebrity. No, you were able to bring the humanness in them. What inspired that?
Yes, I've been going around talking about this, my event on Sunday. I've been thinking about that a bit more. And I think, you know, all of us, our childhood defines who we are as adults. And I think I'm an only child. And I was also a shy child. I was also very insecure as a child. And so I think I had to retreat into my own imagination, you know, and create worlds. And I spent a lot of time reading. And stories, I think, were the things that saved me. You know, and enlightening books, yes, but also Achebe's books. I think I read Things Fall Apart before I was 10. I read The Interpreters before I was 10. I read The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born. I think from a young age, I began to fall in love with stories because I began to write. My first novel was written when I was 11 or 12. So what made me do that, I don't know. But I've always been very curious about it. And I've loved the media. I tell people when I left secondary school, 15, I was already a media expert. I knew the top columnists. I knew the top editors. You know, so I don't know the particular thing, but I think in turning into stories, I began to love stories, and I began to see the power that, maybe unconsciously, subconsciously, the power that stories had. So that's childhood. But when I now began to work in the media, with Fumi Yonde especially, then I saw how stories could change lives, you know, literally change lives, switch perspectives. And I always wanted to be the kind of person that tells those kinds of stories.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And truly, they have been changing a lot of lives, right? But there's one thing I'm sure a lot of people have been wanting to ask you.
Okay.
How did you beautifully present a beautiful bride? You and that your partner in 2020. Was it 2015?
Yes.
When you guys packaged somebody. That was such a brilliant story. And you saw that story that all of us, we were under the rain, in the sun, you know, and all of that.
Yeah.
But it then actually brought that consciousness to a lot of us, you know, that, you know, we needed to also be careful with the kind of stories that we pay attention to, our minds and all of that, because again, you know, it is so easy for one story to impact millions of people. So because you understand the power that wields, how are you being careful in telling those stories, you know, wherever you go?
You know, that's a very good question. Thank you for that. Because, and I like it because it forces me to reflect. You know, the truth is, we can only do what we know at any time. And when we know better, we do better. And I think that more than trying to get things right is having the right intention. You know? And I tell people, when you say I saw the story and I was thinking about it as you were asking, I did because I believed in that story myself. And it's easier to sell a convincing story if you believe in it, you know, unless you're a psychopath. You know? So I believed in it so strongly. And I don't think that the things that I've learned are about storytelling. I think things that I've learned are about humility, which is sometimes you think you're right, or sometimes you think you know the future, and you need to be humble enough to know that you could be wrong and that you don't know the future. And so what I learned from 2015 was, I was very, I didn't express this in public. I don't attack people in public. But I've never done that, you know, especially on social media, especially people I know. Or I don't often do that. But I thought that the people that disagreed with my electoral choices, I thought they were wrong. I was sure that they were wrong. I thought the arguments were bad. Even some of them, I thought they didn't love Nigeria. And then I realized when things didn't go the way I expected that, oh, this is the point they were trying to make. And so what I've learned in that period is to be more humble, is to be more aware of my limitations, is to do what I believe is right with an allowance that I could be very wrong. But you see, we cannot live in that space where we don't act because we think we might be wrong. We have to act with the available information. But that humility might make it easier for us to quickly
say sorry,
to quickly change direction, to quickly learn and do better. So that's what it is. But when it comes to stories, I still believe that whatever story you believe in must be told with an almost fiery passion. That it's your job to say what you believe with passion, with energy, because that's how the world is changed. Yeah.
So you're about to do something major, right? Bringing together with, I saw that flyer.
Yeah. Even the flyer is intimidating me.
Jesus is Lord. So I looked at that flyer
I
and I
love your
said,
set.
thank you so much. I said, these are amazing storytellers.
Yeah.
Right? What is going to be different? Because again, sometimes we feel like we know these people. Sometimes we've heard it all. That's how we do all of this. And we say we've heard it all. And we feel like, oh, there's nothing new that they want to say.
Yeah.
Right? What is going to be different? Because these are like power-packed storytellers in their individual rights.
Right, yeah. So there's Fowles, the bad guy. There's Bobby
I see
Boma,
Fowles, I see Chimamanda, I see Funke Akindele, I see Pastor Jerry Eze.
There's Vicky James.
There's Ebuka,
Yes.
you know, I like Hawa too. Kiki as well, she has an amazing story.
Yes.
Moses Bliss is there, Vicky James, Tuawoma.
Yeah. So this is, I'm going to break it down into three things first. When have you ever seen a Moses Bliss interview?
That one, I'm actually looking forward to.
So that's the first one. So there are people here, this is their first interview ever. If you ever see them, either they're walking into a red carpet, so that's the first. The second is the first time anybody in the media saw Tenny cry was on With Chude. When she was talking about how the death of her father affected her. The first time that anybody heard Funke speak about her marriage was on With Chude. The first time Pastor Jerry cried anywhere else but on NSPPD was on With Chude. So first and foremost, there's a grace that God has given that platform where people say things there for the first time and they never say it anywhere else. So that already lets you know that when they come here, there are things that they are going to say that they've never said anywhere else. I tell people when I interviewed Joke Silva, Auntie Joke, and she spoke about Uncle Olu. Between when I interviewed her and when I published it was 8 months because she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. So she kept saying, I'm not ready. And I'm like, I'm not going to release it until you are ready.
Until you're ready to release it.
And for those 8 months, she didn't say it anywhere else. So there are stories that people keep only to share with me on my show. And so almost all my main stage speakers have said it, that there are things they want to say to people from their lives that they've never said anywhere. And if my platform didn't exist, they would never say anywhere. Then there are people like Vicky James. She recorded a video and said, you think you know she said it, you think you know my life story because I talk a lot on social media, but on Sunday, I'm going to tell you stories you've never heard. So that's the first thing. You know, people always think they know celebrity stories until those celebrities come on my show. But also, these people have made a commitment because they know what Sunday is about. It's about changing lives. It's about helping people live the lives they want to live. And so you will hear things that will shock you. And some of those things they've told me that will shock you, that will inspire you, that will truly change your life.
Awesome, because I was just going to lead up with that to say, you know, what was the end goal? And you just touched on it.
Yeah.
Chude, when you started with Chude, right, you know, there were also regular people on your platforms.
Yes, yes.
Right? But it seemed like there was a shift. Why was it so? Was it because the regular people, their stories were not strong enough or they couldn't command the same attention? Or what was just the motive behind that switch? Because again, we also saw the growth when that switch came. And again, this is where a lot of people make the same argument. Why all the time celebrities? Is it that regular people don't matter? You know, it would be nice if you're able to help them see why.
Right,
Yeah.
There are two reasons, two answers. One is that I never stopped interviewing ordinary people. I make it a point of duty to interview non-celebrities at least once a month. In fact, the episode is up on our website today. So if you go and subscribe on withchude.com, the episode is about a young man who suffered dyslexia and using that to change lives, and is not a celebrity. So what happens is that the show has become a victim of its success. So once things began to go viral, people, apart from my core subscribers, stopped listening, stopped talking about the non-celebrities. And also because when the show succeeded, they became a lot of celebrities. And I do 2 interviews a week. So the celebrities overwhelm people from seeing the non-celebrities, but I never stopped dealing the non-celebrities. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I also have, in doing my show, I now understand the power of celebrity. Celebrities help people know that they're not alone. Because we often don't see celebrities as human beings. So when a celebrity experiences the same thing you experience, if your brother experiences the same thing, you might dismiss it. But if a celebrity experienced it, then somehow it affirms and validates people's feelings. In an ideal world, that should not be the case, but we're not living in an ideal world. And any way to inspire and change people's lives is worth doing. So before I used to be very sensitive to that, you know, because I like talking to everybody. But after a point, I embraced it because I saw the people whose lives are being changed. For instance, if I told people to come and pay to listen to the story of a non-celebrity that experienced the same thing Funke Akindele has experienced.
Exact same thing.
They're not likely to show up. And so, but if I want to touch that person's life, then I have a duty as a storyteller to find the story that will compel that person's attention so that their life can be changed. That's why celebrities matter.
Perfect. You see why you're the great storyteller? I'm having fun. You know, so still staying on the story subject, right? Chude, what is the thing that makes you go, this is a story I want to channel the conversation to? You know, because you know why? You mentioned something now. A lot of Nigerians, we have very low attention span.
Very low.
Very low.
Very low.
And we like to major in the minor. We like to focus on, you know, like literally sometimes I'll be wondering, why is this thing trending, for goodness sake? What exactly is making
I'm
this?
actually confused many times.
You know, I'm confused. I'm saying, why is this one trending? Important issues that we're supposed to be discussing, they're not trending. So what is making this particular story trend? So do you understand?
Yes.
That thing always runs through my mind. So, but again, as a great storyteller, you know, you have the what's it called? The capacity to look at these stories and say, you know what, this is where we're going to focus. And it's always, you know, going viral, it's always hitting the people that matter, impacting people. So how are you able to decide to say, this is the story we're to tell?
Well, there are three answers. One is, often is my spirit leading me. Often. Like, you know, sometimes people say things I wasn't expecting. But two is that I have, my first paid job in the media was as a researcher. You know, for a TV show. I was a researcher for New Dawn with Fumi on that. So research is my number one thing. And so I have a team that gives me deep research before each shows. And I spend time with them. I respect my guests enough to spend time trying to get what is it. So by the time I get into the studio, I have a sense of what makes this person special. But then so I'm armed with that knowledge, but I don't allow that knowledge distract me. Because sometimes you ask a person the first question, the person carries you somewhere else. And what I've learned to do is to follow them. So that's for the interviews. It's easy, and that's why the filmmaker is in the profile your guys put together, because the documentaries, the documentary films, is a different matter entirely. With the documentary films, there's a story I want to tell. Like, I did a story about human trafficking.
You did on Desiani as
which has not been released, actually. And then I'm doing a story about the TikTok scammer. It's coming out later this year, which is a story about how social media can create false worlds. You know, it's a major story. Like, this one will capture everybody's attention. For those, I hear a story in the media, and I'm like, for my documentaries, I'm like, no, we've just done the headline. There is a deeper element. Human beings have been affected
by this.
And then that guides the story. So I enjoy documentaries a bit more because I already know the story I want to tell. But with interviews, I enjoy them in a different way because I'm always surprised. Somebody says something you were not even prepared for it. You didn't see it coming. It just hits you. Like, you just be like, I came here to talk about this, and suddenly I'm talking about this. So I enjoy my job a lot because I have the best of both worlds. I have the people who surprise me. I have the stories I know how I want to craft. But all of it is, I'm deeply, you know, many years ago I was working for Next Newspapers, and there was a young woman, the news was like she killed her mother in Surulere. And I read the woman's interview, and I'm like, I think we're telling the wrong story here. The real story is, why would a person kill her mother? And the office refused to commission the story. So I took my own money, me and Adebola, and I went to her house in Surulere and met her neighbors and tried to understand why did she kill her mother? And I think I have that. That's my biggest question when it comes to the human spirit. Why do we do it? When I interviewed Bobrisky, I went to understand, are you happy? And why have you made these choices? You know, I want to go beyond caricature. I want to go beyond headlines. I really want to know what makes us human. And I think that genuineness of intention helps me uncover things that other people are unable to uncover.
So interesting. I love, you just know how to, say it to lead me to more probing question. I love the fact that you talked about the why.
Right.
I think a lot of challenges that we face within Nigeria is because we do not ask that question. Somebody does something and we just start to shout and we castigate. We do not ask why. Why did it happen? And, for the longest of time, we miss out on maybe solutions. We miss out on how to even move forward from those things because we are unable to just ask that why. So imagine if Nigerians are asking why, it will be easier to make, to make our lives better. So you touched on surprise, right? I've been also wanting to ask, how you've been able to stay away from, you've been 25 years. I mean, doing this, how have you been able to stay away from, all sorts of scrutiny? And has there been anything that you saw in the news that broke you, that say, wow?
That's such a good question.
Yeah.
That's such a good question.
we are learning from
I'm not going to say what it is.
Because I'm coming to ask you that. Are you going to say it on Sunday?
No.
So that we say
Yes, maybe on Sunday.
No. You cannot be. You cannot be making people cry, and you will not.
But
cry.
this is the first time. No, I don't say because I don't want. First time I want. The person said something so mean that it broke me. But then nobody took it seriously, and I don't want to even put that person on. I don't want to give the person credibility, or even let the person know that I even saw it. It's like. But 2020, I saw something on social media that was so wicked, so untrue. And it broke me all, But I went off social media in 2021. I don't have the password to my account. I have not been, as I tell people, I don't know what TikTok looks like. Like when you enter the app, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what Snapchat, God forbid, I don't even know what Snapchat looks like. I heard that terrible things are happening there. I don't know. Sometimes I go, the other day I saw that, wait, WhatsApp now has stories. I'm not on WhatsApp as well. Facebook has become a completely different animal. So I'm not on social media. So because of 2020, December. Because what happened was I thought I was a fearless person, but I thought I had worked on my fears. And this thing made me so afraid. So I went back into a place of prayer. I went back into a place of meditation. And I realized that I still had work to do on myself. Because to be honest, there's nothing a human being, the Bible says, what can man do to me? I deeply believe that there is nothing a human being can do to me that can kill me or destroy me. I truly believe it. So I'd always known that intellectually. But 2020, I thought, why am I shaking if I know this? And I realized I had to go and do more work on myself. And that's why since 2021 January, I have not responded to any criticism. I have not responded to any negative or positive feedback. I have not. If you go and check my entire social media, I have not responded to one comment, one article, one anything. Because I've learned to be complete in my... That doesn't mean I'm grateful for the engagement. And on my page, I have no unreplied text message on my phone. And I have no unreplied email on my email. That's how I am. I like respecting people with responses. So my team responds to every message. Where can we register? Or where can... Important things. But I don't like your hair. I don't like who you interviewed. Okay, you've expressed your opinion. Keep it moving. I hardly delete comments. I don't even... I'm saying hardly because maybe somebody has done it once or twice. Because I learned that 2020 made me run back into myself and be like, why would a human being shake me? And I mean, we're still going in this life. This life, we go, we experience things. But I know that there is nothing that a human being can do that can crush my spirit without my permission. And I'm grateful for that thing that happened in 2020 because it made me truly fearless. Like, as I was going to this event, something happened this week that we're going to talk about that I'm still thinking through, but I've packed it. I'm like, this one, not smarting, because I know. There's something that the psychologist Jordan Peterson says. There's something about the human spirit that has the capacity to thrive in the darkest, toughest conditions. And I always want to stay in touch with that part of myself. That part of myself that is fearless, that is not confident is not the word. Fearless is the word that has... My book is coming out this year and I have a chapter on fear. I call it essential courage.
Absolutely.
The courage that even if everybody abandons me, I will make a way. And so 2020 really taught, I'm very grateful for 2020. I began to learn that lesson from 2016. But apart from that, I hear kinds of things that, the things people think will move people don't move me. You know, so maybe, I hug the Ebola, people say, oh, we're too touchy. I'm just like, what? I said, remove it, delete it. Why? Why will you delete it? And people say, I worked for the 2050 campaign, but I'm like, but I worked for it now. So why is that a negative comment? People, I don't know what they will say. I've heard all kinds of things. I've heard all kinds of things. I've had guests come on. I've had a guest, very unusual, so my team was sure, come on the show, was uncomfortable with vulnerability. I think she regretted what she has said. And she didn't know that she had just asked me, don't use the interview. I have 34 interviews I've not used. Because the people said, don't use it. That she had just asked me, I don't want, I felt uncomfortable. Instead, she abused the team, all kinds of things. Just said, what? She thinks that is this because of this thing that I decided not to use it. But no, why I don't use it is because if you don't want to share your story, then I don't want to share your story.
Yeah, you have to be comfortable sharing your story.
So that's it. I've learned that words can only touch me if I allow them.
Awesome. As we wrap up, right? Yeah. Because, we're having so much fun. I was looking at the time.
I was wondering.
Time is always running.
Yes.
But guess what, Chude? You always, people are always vulnerable with you. Who supports you, Chude?
That's a good question. Well, you see, so first, all my friends are going to be there on Sunday at the event.
Awesome.
At the Palms, Lekki, Lagos, this Sunday from 2 p.m. Yeah? Can I tell people where to register?
Of course.
Yes,
why
on
not?
event.withchude.com. Event.withchude.com. Yeah? My friends and my mother. Those people, I always joke with people, I tell them I don't want any new friends. Because I have all the friends I need. And that's my birthday, when I went to Mauritius together. And I said, you are not allowed to permitted to come here if you've not been friends for at least 15 years. There's only one person who was after 15 years, but the relationship has become like 15 years. Only one person. My friends, I've never ever said a thing to my friends and I heard it outside. Never. I've never told my friends a thing. We'll be fighting. Before, now I don't fight with my friends anymore. And when there's trouble, I call, they pick up. So I am so grateful to my friends, so deeply grateful to my friends. Because I'm an introvert, I'm a shy person, I'm not the kind of person that goes, and all my friends found me. All my friends found me, apart from one. And I'm one of those, and I don't know if to share this, but I think it's something to share. Two of my very best friends are my exes. Wow. Best friends. Like if something happens today,
you call them.
The first 2 people I'll call. And so I've been lucky to build deep, true relationships because none of us can do this life alone.
So if you had one final thing to say, why it's important for people to join you live at the event on Sunday, why would that be?
If you've listened to me and you think that something I've said has touched your spirit, then you're going to hear more on Sunday. And you're going to hear it practically. The first plan for this event was to get an international speaker. And I thought, no. We need people who have suffered like I've suffered, who NEPA has taken lights in their house, who they've beaten them back and blue, and their church members still say, go back to the marriage. There are some peculiar stories. It is these stories that have made me who I am, that have softened me, deepened me, toughened me. And I want to share that with the world. I want people to see how I got here by hearing the stories of the people who helped me get here. I've sat down with Funke Akindele. She has gone through the toughest thing.
Oh, she has.
It was the toughest year of her life that Funke won the box office for the first time. So all these things you hear on social media are not the real things. People cannot be vulnerable because in Nigeria they like hard guys. So you have to create an environment for people to feel safe. And it's with Chude that does that. So if you want to hear how to live the life you've always wanted to live, you want to learn how to live a fearless life, come. I promise you. Or you just want to meet your favorite celebrities.
First something must bring you.
First come. Then you will live with a thoroughly changed life. Look, I'm not capping. In any case, I don't even need to cap. Look at the guests. But I've spoken to them. Sunday will be an experience like people have never seen in Nigeria on the African continent.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm so happy and proud of you.
Thank you.
Keep on doing the work and keep on being fearless.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to do this. Is my last interview.
Oh, really?
For the yes. And I was after today, I said, I want to end with your show.
Oh, nice.
And you gave me such beautiful questions. So I knew what I was doing.
Oh, really? We're happy. We're happy.
Yeah.
You know, I told you, I said, we're not 15 years, but you know you can always count on us.
Yes, I do.
Thank you so much
Thank
today.
you for having
We
me.
had a fantastic time.
I'm glad.
It's a short conversation, but it was really worthwhile. So I'm appealing everyone that's watching, if you can make out time.
Yeah.
One thing can truly change your life. You don't know what somebody would say that you would just pick eventually and your life will just transform. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'll see you guys next week. I'm tired. Enjoy the rest of your evening and your weekend. Oh, wow.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.